Making challah today here in my kitchen. We're not doing it quite traditionally because there are certain things which we'll get into later on in this video. But as of right now, in my mixing bowl, I have 4¼ cups of flour, 3/4 of a cup of water, 6 tablespoons of oil, 3 tablespoons of honey, 3 eggs, 1½ teaspoons of table salt, and 2 packets of instant yeast. That's the only way the math works out, unless you want to buy some of the jarred stuff, which you're welcome to do, which, hey, good for you. At any rate, as you can see, we're getting ready to stir it up. And once we stir it up, we're going to cover it for an hour to 2 hours. So you're going to want to use your bread hook on your mixing thing. Makes life really, really easy. You'd be amazed at how awesome this thing is. Anyway, we'll return here in a little bit. Alright, so we're back now. And now that I'm going to figure out how to merge the videos in place together. At any rate, we've got the dough. It's been rising for a little over an hour. I've got my pizza cutter. You can see the dough here. Well, what we're going to do is divide the dough into 3 parts. We're going to take about 1/10 of it. This is going to be what is actually considered the challah. Challah translates loosely as sacrifice. And traditionally what we're going to do with it, or what they did back in the ancient, or in traditional Jewish bakers will do this too. Unfortunately, you're supposed to throw this into the oven when the bread is baking. It's supposed to burn up in the oven as a sacrifice to God. Unfortunately, I have to worry about the wrath of the husband and the wrath of the smoke alarm. Therefore, what I normally do is just bake it with the bread and then pitch it out to the birds and the raccoons and everything else living in the backyard. That way it's still a sacrifice. It's just not the traditional way because, once again, Mr. Smoke Alarm, Mr. Husband. Now the rest of this, like I said, we're going to divide it in half. Mr. Pizza Cutter. We're going to stretch this dough out. Stretch. It's almost like making your own mozzarella, except it's a lot doughier. Now, there are several ways you can braid this. I personally come from the school of 3 strands because that makes sense to me. It's what I know how to do. There are videos out there if you want to do it into 4 strands, 6 strands, 12 strands, any kind of multiple you want. So, we basically got 3 little Play-Doh worms here. We're going to attach the ends. And we're going to pretend we're back in grade school, and we're going to braid these. Or at least attempt to. I'm a little out of practice. We're going to pinch it together. As you can see, this is a little ugly. A lot of times when I do this, I'll twist it around so it makes a nice little circle. We're going to set that aside. Then we're going to do the same thing with the other loaf. we're going to pause here, and I'll bring you back as soon as I've got this all put together and show you what we're going to do next. All right, here's the other one. This is going to be a long one. It's going to be ugly because, you know, like I said, I'm not that great. So at any rate, what we're going to do now, I've got the loaves on parchment paper on a baking pan. We're going to stick them into in this case, I've got the oven set to proof, so it's 95 degrees. It's going to sit in there. It's going to rise for another hour. The yeast is going to sit there and do its normal from the window to the wall, or my neck, my back. Basically, it's going to expand again. When it's gone through its second rise, we're going to make an egg wash by taking an egg, beating it, and then we're going to use a pastry brush to brush the egg over the top of the bread. And once that's done, we'll stick it in the oven at 375, and it'll cook for roughly half an hour, 45 minutes. It depends on your oven. My oven, most of the time, it takes longer than what it says it does. But we'll come back to that. Okay, so as we can now see, this is the dough after it's been rising. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put the egg wash on it. And you can see the little challah there on the right-hand side. That is going to be going out to the birds and the bees and the huckleberry trees and everybody else here in a few minutes. Well, here in about 30 to 40. Anyway, here is the bread as it is egg washed. You can see the beaten egg sitting in the measuring cup and the pastry brush I used to brush it with. When the oven is at 350, it'll go in the oven for about 30 to 40 minutes. We'll come back and show you the finished product. So as you can see, here's the ugly challah. It'll taste wonderful. It goes great with French toast. You can make it into French toast. It's delicious. It's great with butter. As you can see, the actual bit of challah is back there in the corner. It'll be going out in the backyard as soon as it cools down a little bit. So, at any rate, thank you for watching.